Everyone, welcome to the regular council meeting for Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. It is 6:34. Ms. Monroe, if you'd like to call the roll.
Mayor Don Barnard.
Here.
Tiffany Hollis.
Here.
Brian Green.
Here.
Dave Seeland.
Here.
Jeff Barr.
Present.
Wes Cobble.
Here.
Al Barsini.
Here. If we could please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, will be led by Mr. Councilman Barr.
Let us bow our heads in reflection and prayer. Gracious and eternal God, we thank you for the gift of this day and for the opportunity to gather here in the service to the city of Johnstown. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as our leaders deliberate and make decisions that affect our community. Grant them clarity, compassion, and courage as they work for the common good. Help us to listen respectfully, to speak truthfully, and to act justly. Bless all who live and work in our city. Protect the vulnerable, uplift the weary, and strengthen the bonds that unite us. May peace, progress, and unity be at the heart of all we do here tonight. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we have a light agenda, but we'll try to get through it as quickly as possible. First item is approval of agenda. We were sent the agenda by Ms. Monroe. Nothing was added to it. What would council like to do?
Move to approve as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we started something earlier this year, because Johnstown's moving forward. We wanted to honor our past, and one way to do it is to honor those who served the city in different ways. And we decided this year we were going to honor our former mayors, all of our former living mayors. And so tonight, if Mr. Ben Lee could come up. Tiffany, I've got something for you. So Ben has been a very integral part of this community for many years until he decided to move to Newark. God knows why, but he's in Newark now. But he led our fireworks. He did so much for our fireworks for many years. He led this community, and so we just want to honor him tonight. So this proclamation is for Ben Lee. Whereas beginning in 1813, when the city of Johnstown was established, whether elected as mayor or appointed as mayor, many citizens gave their best of themselves to bring to fruition their visions for Johnstown to grow and prosper as a community. And whereas former Mayor Benjamin Lee served the city and village of Johnstown as a mayor from 2018 to 2019, and whereas our former Mayor Lee served the city of Johnstown with distinguished and outstanding service to its citizens, and whereas former Mayor Lee's service to the city includes many worthwhile and lasting accomplishments, too numerous to name individually, and whereas former Mayor Lee's outstanding service to the city of Johnstown reflects well upon him and the Johnstown community that he led, and whereas Mayor Benjamin Lee is hereby honored for his dedication, time, and effort, along with leadership and dedicated service to the citizens of the city of Johnstown, Ohio. And now therefore be proclaimed that I, Mayor Donald Barnard, on behalf of Johnstown City Council, call upon our citizens to celebrate the dedication and commitment of former Mayor Benjamin Lee and all that he gave to our community and for what we have today. Thank you for your incredible service. And I flew over the city today, so that is yours too. I appreciate it. Yep. If your family would like to come up and get some pictures. That's
I don't know if Ben's young enough to be your son or you're really old enough to be his father. I feel like there's a trick in there somewhere.
I'm 68.
for 68. Okay. Thank you, Ben.
Let me take one more.
They're back up, you can get a picture.
Am I in the way?
Kind of, I'm like, he's gonna think that way, but not. It was like hung up behind you. Okay. All right, that's better. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great.
Thank you, sir.
You got any words you want to say?
guess I was used to signing these, it's weird getting them. Knowing what it's like to sit on the other side of the table, for as long as I did in the committees and the commission, and all the decisions that had to be made with the information that we had, you don't know until you know. And so, appreciate the appreciation, but I'll throw it right back, knowing what it takes to sit over there. To have been a part of this body and to be accounted among the living mayors is nice. It's appreciated. But just to have had a part of the city's history that made me who I am. I'm who I am because the city is who the city is and the people are who the people are. So I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my hometown giving to me. So to be able to give back in some small measure what I've been given is an honor of a lifetime that has too many benefits to mention. So the token is appreciated. It will hang in a place of honor at the house. And thank you all for your commitment and for the recognition. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So for me, when I first became mayor, there was no instructions how to do it, and I spent a lot of time on the phone with Ben, asking him questions, getting advice, so I really appreciate Ben. Action on minutes. We have minutes from September 2nd, 2025. What is the will of council?
Move to approve as written.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Citizens' comments on matters not on the agenda. Ms. Monroe, did you receive anything?
I did not.
Anybody have anything they'd like to say that is not on the agenda tonight? Okay. Council committee reports. Planning and zoning, they met on September 9th. Their next meeting is the 23rd at 6:30 in council chambers. Anything to report from that, Mr. Green?
You'll see a couple recommendations that come from us tonight.
Okay. Design review board, they met the same night. Their next meeting is the 23rd at 5:30 in the council chambers. Ms. Monroe, anything from that meeting?
Just a few applications. They're still reviewing the plans, made some tweaks to request of the applicant to the old hardware building, downtown building. So that went back on the table. Tabled another sign application for a few changes requested and approved a demo over on Green Chapel, part of the PD district.
Okay. Finance, we met tonight. We went over a very thorough, the water plan, the financing of the water plan, the cost of the water plan, so that was really interesting. If you'd like to get more information on that, Sean will get that for you. Safety and service, they meet on the 7th at 5:30 in council chambers. Anything else to report from any committees not on here? Okay. Director reports, we received the chief of police's report. Did anyone have any questions on that for the chief? Okay, hearing none. We're going to move to the city manager report. Sean, would you like to go over any highlights on the city manager report?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to thank the chief. I have noticed police presence at both crosswalks in the morning, out of their cars, high-fiving the kids as they cross the street. I mean, outstanding community policing. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Steiner, if you'd like to go over any highlights of yours?
No, I'll defer to you all. If you have any questions related to it, I'll certainly jump in and answer, but if not, we'll leave it at that.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Steiner? Okay, we are moving along. Table legislation, Resolution 2025-35, a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter agreement into a Green Chapel Road right-of-way and transfer agreement. I believe zoning kicked this to safety and service, correct?
Zoning kicked this to safety and service, yes. They had brief discussion, but ultimately went with that. Is there a motion to bring this off the table?
I'll make a motion to take resolution 2025-35 off the table.
I'll second.
Okay. Dave Seelan.
Aye.
Brian Green.
Yes.
Jenny Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cobble.
Yes.
Jeff Barr.
Affirm.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Okay, with taking off the table, what would you like to do with this?
My first question is to the planning and zoning team. What was discussed? What was the takeaway from the planning and zoning discussion?
Very brief discussion, and ultimately, planning and zoning decided that this wasn't the correct venue for them to make a ruling on this, and decided to send it to safety and service.
Right of way is not planning and zoning?
So they decided that, the board decided that this was something that safety and service could see, since there were utilities involved, roadways involved, things of that nature. So about the only place where it crosses with planning and zoning would be, you know, just in the look and feel and the areas that it connects to. So that was their rationale for moving it on.
So what does safety and service have to do with it then, once it goes to the next safety and service meeting?
My thought is that it discusses right-of-ways, it discusses, obviously, the right-of-way, the roads, the infrastructure in the area, all things that would be highlighted under safety and service. So that was their rationale for moving it on.
Okay.
Is there anything that you think they'll bring up that we couldn't go ahead and move on with council
I think we can move on with council, yeah.
without going to safety and service?
I think we can, the 3 members of safety and service are here. So we can, I think, as long as the rest of council is okay with discussing it and we can get our questions answered tonight, I think we can move forward with it. I'd hate to see it sit for
No, I don't wanna
another couple weeks.
Yeah. So what questions do we have for this that we need answered?
Through the information that's shared in here, I really don't have any major question, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, or down the side. You know, maintenance, plowing, all turns would then be to the city of New Albany, correct?
Correct.
Yep. My small caveat would be a question of potential of a white fence, the white fence coming around the side of the Johnstown property, correct? The, what is actually then in Johnstown city limits, is the white fence deferrable? Is it set in stone? What is that? 'Cause
Some is a
in my
concern.
mind, it's almost a trademarked, it's a,
I don't think they'd put it on our side, would they?
So from the feedback that we got briefly in zoning, because that was a concern that I had as well, was that there was a rough plan to possibly have that.
If you look on Mink right now, it's on one side, but it's not on the other side. So it's on the side that has Intel, but on the other side, that's,
There is a call out, if I may
Okay.
jump in. I believe there was a desire to have some uniformity in that area, right, wrong, or indifferent. But in definition L, Johnstown Path, fence easement, there is mention that anything north of that right-of-way, the easement in which we're granting, would have the potential for a fence to be located within that easement. So I think there are plans associated with putting a white fence in. I'm not sure that it was done nefariously. I think they were looking for a uniformity along the roadway. If you go through New Albany, obviously they have white fences on either side.
see, I read it, it says for the purpose of allowing Johnstown to construct a fence or shared use path.
Required. That's how I read it too.
In,
The,
there's an assumption that if you want to put a fence in, you can. So, however, if you want to put in some type of treatment in there, you can. There's another section.
Amy, do you have any idea on this one?
1837.
Yeah. I've read the agreement. It's been a little bit of a while since I've read it. We would be party to, or I think the fence, the idea was that it would probably be part of a final development plan anyways. And we don't know yet, to be honest, we don't know yet if Green Chapel is going to get developed more industrial or the original plan multifamily, since Intel's scope and timing has changed. Perhaps what was originally going to be like the mixed-use area, that could become more industrial, and the mixed-use residential shifts in a different area. So I don't think there is any intention of absolutely having a fence or not. However, I would say from a design perspective, I don't know what the right answer is right now, because if you have a fence on one side and not the other, it might be weird. if you have a fence, if you have like a white fence on one side and a black fence on the other side, that's also weird. So then it's kind of, I think, kind of kicks the can a little bit from a design perspective.
It would be discussed in final development, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my understanding. And then, but there would for sure probably be a path, a leisure trail.
I think
Would
we-
be similar to the
yeah.
business park.
Yeah, the path I have a good feeling on. It's a good,
Yeah.
great use, great connectivity. My concern is just the absolute, and I don't see the absolute, but I just want to make sure that there's an understanding that I feel that there are people that would like to find our own fingerprint that says Johnstown, right?
Yes.
That's where I would like to go. I definitely agree there should be some sort of barricade, fence, something, but I think we need to find out what that trademark of Johnstown is gonna be.
We had called out in the PD district that on the edges of the development, that there would be mounding and vegetation
Yes.
as the buffer area.
For sure.
We had also called out the connectivity, and, you know, there's an obligation of a planning study in there for the connectivity, so pathways, walkable, you know, making a walkable city, all the above there, but, so I think we had made sure in that PD district, though, that all edges will have a line of clear demarcation, from city to city, and have the road, or have the trees, the mounding, you know, things like that. But I agree, we need to find as a city what, you know, what our brand is gonna be and define it a little bit more in that district. But I think that gives us a start, at least, of the mounding and the trees.
Yeah. I think since it's gonna go to final development, we can have our say then if we want what color fence, what kind of fence, whatever.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
With the amount of back and forth we have left with the developer in this location, I'm not one to leave things to chance, but this is a small risk. But I think it's safe to assume that there will be communication, there will be agreement, there will be, because one force begets, you know, another negative consequence. And, I mean, we've got years of working together to get a final product, so I'm not concerned with the language as it sits.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't obligating ourselves or abdicating certain rights that would be, you know, a detriment to us in the future. If we give up a right-of-way, what happens in that right-of-way in the future, we may not get a say in. So that's what I
Absolutely
wanted to make
understandable.
sure. If there's utilities that come through in the future, you know, we may not get a say in those. If there's a look and feel to that area, I want to make sure that we get a say on that. So that was my only concern with this right-of-way, is that, you know, we're losing out on something that we may think of a couple years down the line.
With your experience, do you think it's a safe assessment that based on the future development in that area, we'll have continued conversations?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're gonna have continued conversations. I just wanna make sure that we're not losing out on that here.
I'll jump in just to summarize. It's not a mandate, but it's implied, and that's why I'm somewhat waffling, and I think Jamie's trying to figure out the right wording as well. It's obviously identified that there could be a fence, so I don't want there to be some shocker at a later date that, what do you mean there's a fence? But you ultimately will have some say in that in the final development plan. But also there is part of the agreement that there's an implied piece that has an assumption. So I want to be discussing this with New Albany in good faith. So whenever we do deliver a signed agreement, I'll certainly relay the information that a fence on both sides may not be a final outcome. And so that way they're not hit with a heavy heart 10 years down the road or 5 years, whenever they assumed that it would be granted. So I think legally we're within our right, but also to be respectful of our neighbors. Just a simple conversation that we may have some resistance to a fence is also necessary. Additionally, when we do talk about fences, and we brought this up at planning and zoning, maintenance cost of those, there is an association, Jamie rightfully described it as most similarly to an HOA. Companies that are located in there bear the cost of maintaining some of these improvements. So that's something that I want to communicate, that residents don't feel like we're putting in infrastructure that we're going to have to bear the cost of into perpetuity. When we do these developments, we have it wrapped around a functional financing piece that maintains these types of ornamental things that are within the right-of-way.
And I would also say, it doesn't have to be white fence or no fence or black fence. There's probably all different other ways to brand the city too. So you'll see different cities sometimes where, rather than doing, you know, a ribbon of a fence around the city, there's certain moments, perhaps like when you enter the city, there's maybe a stone feature, a wooden feature when you enter the city. But we think there's value in some uniformity for the city, for the branding, even the way the city, the paint color from the fire hydrants. There's little moments that there's plenty of opportunity for Johnstown. Now, finding a way to implement it that is cost effective, not only from the start, but also the maintenance standpoint, is something to be sensitive about, and we are too. But we're excited to probably participate or lend resources however we can as we kind of work with Johnstown to find its own identity, because we want Johnstown's brand to be more of Johnstown too. So,
That was the only concern I had about it. Just make sure.
what's that?
Discussed. I'm good to go otherwise.
Okay.
Any other questions on this?
We addressed my concerns with mowing and maintenance. That was gonna be one thing of who's mowing and maintaining. Obviously, that's a significant cost on our end, maybe not so much on others, but with that HOA handling a lot of that, that was one part. And there were a couple of other issues, but I think most of my questions have
Necessarily,
been
I
answered
just
on those.
have a draft of it.
Anybody else?
So, Sean, is there any type of limits then, or improvements? Or is this HOA a way of gonna be financing that then, that?
HOA is really the financial mechanism. The final design will be Johnstown's decision through the final development plan that's associated with that. I will say, we only have the ability to control what's on our side of it, so we're granting right away for the entirety of the roadway. Our piece and part will be north of that, and that's where that easement conversation gets into the shared use path, as well as we'll call it the decorations, whether it be street trees or fencing or some type of cobblestone or whatever the case may be. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Curb cuts was something else that I wondered too. So our ability on curb cuts, further down the road, more or less, definitely will affect the flow of traffic. So what is our ability through there?
So curb cuts right now in the plan, there's an exhibit, and there are little black dots on the curb cuts showing that basically we took our best guess about where we think the curb cuts are going to be or where curb cuts could possibly be. So I can't remember off the top of my head. It might show 5 or 6 curb cuts.
Six,
maybe.
including
6.
Mink and Green Chapel,
So
or Clover Valley.
most likely, 6 would be more than enough, and 6 may not even be needed, depending on the program of the traffic pattern. Some of those roundabouts are already existing. In the event for something that we can't project or guess right now, a curb cut's needed at a later date, that would then have to be negotiated. But
I just want to make sure there was a touch point, because as we
Yeah.
know, as time goes on and properties are subdivided several times.
Yes.
You're gonna end up with more, needs for a curb cut, which you get an old 161.
Yeah.
Or something like that, which,
Yeah.
No way you're
I would
cutting
t-
around those.
yeah.
There's no way you're cutting in around those roundabouts.
Yeah. Now, I would say with what we believe and we feel confident in, the likely programming scenario north of Green Chapel, 6 curb cuts should more than suffice, and we might not even need all 6. And in the event that we have more, the plan is that come off the roundabouts with an extended private drive that then could tee off into different parcels as needed. But we obviously, because of traffic patterns, we couldn't have, 20 curb cuts off Green Chapel anyways. So I feel like what is allocated for Johnstown right now is probably more than enough in 99% of development scenarios.
Jamie, if I may, I'll jump in on this. This was a point of actual, probably, I don't want to say contentious, the most focused on issue relative to the contract. We had a lot of correspondence back and forth. It's on page 9. It's vehicular access to Green Chapel, as well as future Green Chapel improvements. Through discussion and multiple drafts, both parties came to an agreement that they felt comfortable with. So where it landed at, just to summarize, is if Johnstown wants to do additional curb cuts or introduce some type of vehicular access point, we need to check with New Albany, and we have to submit those engineering plans to New Albany, but we are afforded the same right as well. There are some time periods associated with it, so if we don't respond within a certain amount of time, then it's automatically approved, but that was discussed probably pretty heavily as far as the document's concerned. If we need access or they need access, there's some checks and balances that they don't just have an inherent right, nor do we. There's a conversation that the engineers, and we have to work together on it. So it's a great call out.
I would say from the private developer
Very
standpoint,
specific.
I'd say the mechanisms in place for curb cuts do not create any risk for us to sell the land to develop to end users. If it did, we would be very worried about it. If we thought it'd hinder our ability to like close a deal with an industrial user, for example. So
Well, it calls out right there, neither party, without naming all the parties, have the right to make any improvement curb cuts without talking to the other. I mean, it's clear as day. Curb cuts are a non-issue. You'd have to say yes.
Yeah.
I do have one question. I don't see anything in here about utilities, and maybe I'm overlooking it.
In the sense of like, where do they go? Or
Well, I don't know, just obviously, like, we don't have a crystal ball, so utilities are gonna be ran through there. So then do we have to, and I have no idea.
It's a good question.
If we-
You want to take it or you want me to?
So there's a couple things going on with utilities. One is Green Chapel, the location of Green Chapel has actually shifted slightly, and there's a dip. There's a whole spaghetti of utilities in Green Chapel. So there's a couple layers of these utilities. One is the streetlights, for example, on the northern side of the curb of Green Chapel. Those, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those will be owned and maintained by the city of New Albany. So then those will look similar to the south side.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to utilities, then there's another layer, which would be, for example, LRE. LRE also has a blanket easement where this is not up to us or the city of New Albany or really Johnstown. But LRE they have the right to extend utilities along Green Chapel if they need to. We would love to see those like underground. That's going to depend on cost and if they ever even decide to do that. Now, when it comes to water and sanitary, the water and sanitary will be coming along down Mink. So everything on Green Chapel will probably be served from the
North side.
north. Yeah. So I think that kind of hits most of the utilities. Am I forgetting anything?
I think you got it. I mean, it would be all of New Albany's right of way. So at the end of the day, they're going to have,
If we did have to do something, we would have to get an easement for that then, if we needed access, is that?
we would be able to run it within our easement, the 10 feet of it. So I feel like the engineers have reviewed it. We feel like we have enough room to do what we need to do. So at this point, I don't want to say that New Albany doesn't have the ability to do what they actually do, and that is, it's their right of way. We're to the north of it, so by
It's just the
right.
only thing I didn't see mentioned, so
It's in here somewhere, and I was desperately looking to find it.
I couldn't find it either. I was looking for it. Okay.
I'd say as a party that's on literally both sides of the street in this scenario, we feel good that this future-proofs all parties because something might happen we can't project, but it protects in the best of what we know today, City of Johnstown, the City of New Albany, and the private land developers and Intel. So.
Any other questions for Jamie or Sean? Okay, hearing none. What is the will of council for resolution 2025-35?
can we put it back on the table, then vote on it to move?
It's already back on the table.
I'm sorry.
If we took
Yeah,
it
it's
off the table, yeah.
So you can make a motion.
Do you want to open it up? If you're going to vote on it, do you want to open it? Did you ask
Yes,
the public?
sorry. Well, I had,
We don't have a motion.
we don't have a motion. Is there any comments or questions from citizens? Okay, what would council like to do? You can put it back on the table, you can vote on it.
I feel like we're ready to put it back on and vote on it, right?
think it's off the table.
It's off the table.
which
We
means
brought it
you're
off.
free to
You
vote
were
on
just-
it.
We brought it off, but
Yeah.
we can bring it back on.
It's
Off is on.
off is on, so we can make the motion now.
Okay.
Does anybody want to make a motion, I think is where we're at.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-35 as written.
I'll second.
Right. Dave Seelan.
Yes.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cobble.
Yes.
Jeff Barr.
Yes.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to ordinance 08-2025, this is the second reading. This ordinance is amending Part 3 Traffic Code of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Johnstown. It's introduced on 9/2. So this was just taking the ordinance 08-2025, or taking this ordinance and updating it with Jersey Street, Edwards Road, Concord Road, South Oregon Street from West Coshocton Street to West Jersey Street. Does anyone have any questions on adding those streets or issues with those? Okay. Open it up to citizens' comments, if you guys have any comments or questions on this. Okay.
Motion to approve ordinance 08-2025.
I believe this is an introduction.
No, it was last
That
time.
was second.
No.
Okay, all right, well, only item that I'll have, if I may, at this time.
Yes.
And I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine. You started before I started.
I want to emphasize, this is laying the legal groundwork for us to be able to do it, but the mechanics of it, we still got to work out relative to signage, relative to where we put those signage pieces. We need to coordinate with our legal team to confirm that a placement of that sign in a different jurisdiction, such as the township, is permitted. And then obviously, getting with the chief and the prosecutor to identify enforcement. The other roads that currently are in existence kind of end and begin here in Johnstown. But with these, there's obviously a starting point or an ending point, whatever you're looking at, that is outside the jurisdictional limits of Johnstown. So these create a little bit of a different tone than what we currently have on the book. So I say all that not to discourage you from doing it, but just know this is the legal groundwork. We've still got some mechanical work behind the scenes in order for us to.
And it's going to take 30 days for this to go into effect.
Correct.
So we've got 30 days to get all that worked out and get the
So
signs.
what I'm hearing is don't call next Thursday and say a truck drove by my house.
Precisely.
Well done to manage expectations, but yes, this is step one of probably 5-step process to resolution potentially.
Could be.
All right,
We're hoping by Christmas, we don't see any more trucks on these roads.
See what we can do.
yeah. That's what we'll
Okay,
do.
so, or,
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 08-2025.
second.
All right. Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Seelan.
Yes.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cobble.
Yes.
Jeff Barr.
Affirm.
Okay, moving on to resolution 2025-36. Resolution accepting annexation of 6.7 plus or minus acres, more or less, from Monroe Township, Licking County to the city of Johnstown. We've done this a few times, if you want to. These are some missing teeth. A missing tooth.
This is the last missing tooth along Green Chapel. And I wish we could do all this at once, but it just happens depending on when we're able to get the sites in contract, working with the property owners, making sure that they're satisfied with when they move out, et cetera. This one, I think, is somewhat self-explanatory. What we want to do there, we would be then absorbed to sub-area 1 and be zoned for the surrounding. This way, this parcel is not left on an island. So,
Does council have any questions, Mr. McNally? Does citizens have any questions or comments on this item? Okay, what is the will of council with resolution 2025-36?
Motion to approve resolution 2025-36 is written.
Second.
Bob Orsini.
Yes.
Dave Seelan.
Yes.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Mayor Barnard.
Yes.
Wes Cobble.
Yes.
Jeff Barr.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Okay. We have no introduction of new legislation. Move to other business. I'll start at Bob down at his end, if he has anything.
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Barr?
Yeah, I should have asked under the city manager's report, Johnstown Point. Is there Are there requirements of the contractor? There's a lot of dirt that gets
Oh,
on
I like it,
62
yes,
during.
yes.
Chief, you raised your hand. I'll acknowledge
Is
it.
that on my list?
I noticed the dirt. I made contact with Mr. Liggett and requested that he get with the inspector or the foreman on that job site to try to get that taken care of. That was, phone call was taken care of on Monday.
Okay.
So it's in the works, whether or not, how long they get a sweeper out there, but I did notice it and I don't want it on our roadways.
Right.
So
No feedback yet as to,
nothing as of this time. I
great.
know that
If
they
you-
got a hold of them on Monday.
If you hear that, hey, we're going to do it Friday or something, if you, an email could get out to,
I'm sorry?
if you hear from the contractor, hey, we're got a contractor, subcontractor to come in and street sweep on Friday, please let us know.
Okay, will do.
If you get any feedback from them. I'll ask you, indulge me for just a few moments. Yesterday, OSU President Carter and Columbus State Community College President Dr. Davis Harrison announced a huge opportunity for all Ohio students, and it's called Buckeye Bridge, that if you graduate from Columbus State, it starts in spring of '26 with an associate's degree of science or an associate degree of arts from Columbus State Community College. You can continue your education at Ohio State. Please don't quote me on all the exact things. It is out there publicly, but I wanted to say it publicly here and share it with family, friends. Dr. Wagner was in attendance, but provided FAFSA verification of household income of $100,000 or less, those students can continue their education at Ohio State, tuition and student fee free. So it was a major announcement. It's for all Ohio students that go to Columbus State and graduate with their two-year degree. I think they have to continue full-time at Ohio State. All the other particular things that are kind of in the weeds, I don't know about, but more to come. It is out there publicly. It was an announcement done yesterday. Nick seems to be shaking his head. He heard it well. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, Nick, but what an opportunity for our school district kids. I'm sure Dr. Wagner and I think Ms. Merrill's the guidance counselor there, will be sharing with our students, but it's everyone. So some exciting news that I wanted to share. That's all.
Mr. West? Ms. Hollis?
Nope, I'm good.
Mr. Green?
So you guys will see at our next meeting, we'll see the sign legislation coming from zoning.
Hopefully.
Yeah, there's a public notice portion of that that has to be put into play. But yep, something that was a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission, cleaning up an item that, for the GCC2 district, that probably allows a more applicable square footage associated with wall signs. And it was drafted up that night. They reviewed it. Sometimes on the fly, I'm able to produce those things. Other times it deals with a little bit more complexity. This one was pretty easy to draft, so we were able to review it, give a recommendation, but obviously there's some components, so I think potentially next council meeting, you'll likely see the first introduction. It's a text amendment to your codified ordinance. It'll be similar to any of the other text amendments we have, but they did recommend that and appreciate that. I think it'll help with the variance processes. Will obviously negate the need for a variance, but allow for the signage to be consistent with what's currently there, so.
Yep. And then I had, thanks to Dr. Wagner and the school board for the invite to the ribbon cutting on the new wing of the school. Very exciting, everything that they're doing over there, for those of you who couldn't make it. A lot of opportunities for the kids. Seems like they're making great money already, some of them. And just happy to see that sort of opportunity coming to us and allowing them to have more of a traditional means of going to school and pursuing those goals. That's all I have.
Mr. Seal? Third Saturday, so breakfast at the Legion this weekend. Bonus football under the lights at the stadium on Saturday night too, as the JYA teams will take to the field again. So get to see some of the littles running around and pulling flags on Saturday night as well. Mr. Turner?
There was something that you were supposed to remind me of. and I cannot remember for the life of
Okay,
me.
let me do mine and see if it,
Mayor, I'm sorry. When we're talking about the right-of-way and stuff, I don't know who, I don't know if it's Jamie or coming from Safety and Service, but having some maps where we've got highlighted areas when we're talking about would be helpful, I feel like, instead of northwest corner, southwest corner, et cetera, on some of these things, because I'm sure more are to come, so we can get a little better visual, whether that's up on the monitors for those in the crowd. I see some heads nodding, so I feel like I'm on point here. But for me, yeah, 8.5 by 11, kind of highlighting the areas we're talking about would be helpful in the future as we discuss some of these things.
Yeah, it probably would have been more helpful to put on the TV. We did have some exhibits that were in there. But I agree with you, it's hard, and I've looked at this area a ton, so
Yeah.
I can get what I need off of that, but I can see how, if you haven't looked at it a bunch, it would be,
Even the young people in the crowd are nodding their head, they want a map, so I'm on point.
okay, Sean, I'm still trying to find it, but I'll go through the two items I have and see if it jogs your memory. The first is, a councilman made a suggestion that we start having work sessions like once a month. I wanted to find out what council thought about that, what kinds of things they would want at a work session.
I'd like to go first. Mr. McNally's items, that there are the teeth, it's the same message, continuous. I appreciate the fact that he's here, but it's really not necessary, because if we had him in a workshop, he can maybe allude to, through Sean or in presence, that, hey, these are gonna be coming up over the next 6 weeks, these 6 pieces of property, let's say. That's an example of an item that would be in a workshop. Several of the items that we have on agenda, we discuss, and it's really formality, we're just getting informed, and the workshop would do that. It allows for more free flow of communication. I certainly could have emailed the chief about the dirt on the road, but that workshop could be some of those things. Again, an opportunity of, hey, I forgot to email, but I remembered ABC, XYZ. And then our meetings probably would have a little more cadence to get through, and very likely would end sooner. The workshop meetings are still open to the public. They are a public meeting. So I would like us to find a way to meet in a workshop. Allows us to ask questions of the city manager and other staff, where Robert's Rule of Orders are probably not necessary.
What does the rest of council think of it?
I think it's a great idea. I would definitely like to see more work sessions for various opportunities.
And it's not to negate committee meetings, right?
Oh, absolutely.
No, budget committee is gonna be loaded for the remainder of the year,
Yeah,
so.
it's not to take away from, it's maybe some things that are not captured in those committee meetings.
Excuse me.
You guys keep talking about this, I gotta grab something real quick, sorry.
Ryan, yes. Dave, you shook your head.
I'm
in favor of it.
Organizational,
Yeah.
sure.
I'm open to it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Many of the staff and the city manager, et cetera, are already here quite a bit in the evening hours. One of the comments I made to the mayor about this was, could we find looking at our calendars in some way of finding probably no more than 2-hour period that could be done during the day, where all of us are in attendance? Maybe can't make it 100%, but trying to find a daytime meeting, and that's not to burden staff with an additional evening meeting, or weekend for that matter. Is that something you think we could get accomplished in some way with enough advance notice?
Daytime meeting's gonna be a little tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, I don't wanna.
I think we're just gonna have to play it by ear when we can, like if it's during a day or evening or even on a weekend, what works
Well,
best for that month.
I mean, I would say that with advance notice and taking a look in a calendar, I can do a day meeting. Somebody else may say, I absolutely cannot do a day meeting. That's what I'm kind of asking. Maybe.
I'm flexible.
daytime meetings based on the time of year. I think some people
So it's
have-
possible for you.
Some people have busier
Yeah,
schedules
I
certain
understand.
times of year.
Yeah.
Like for Dave, it's easier during the summer, but Ryan, it's harder during the summer. So it's, we'll try to get something on the schedule for October.
Let me know.
Okay. So the other item that came up is public comment releases. When Sean's got to put out a public comment, how does council want that? Do they want to see that before it comes out? Do they just want him to go with it? How do we want this handled in the future? I'm still looking for the thought.
Yeah, I can't remember the other one.
Public comment as in,
To respond to a newspaper
Article, stuff
asking
like
for
that.
comment.
Does council need to see that before it goes out, or do we trust our city manager to put out a comment?
no, I don't think we need to review it.
Or, Sean, are most times you,
I mean, if it's an
Other
abject
than-
disaster, he reports
yeah,
to us.
other than yourself, are we using any kind of resource of vetting it through a public relations service provider, or is it kind of you taking the time to put your thoughts together to respond?
Most of the time, it's just myself putting thoughts together. Usually when the media call, they usually want a pretty quick turnaround, so we don't have a lot of opportunity or time to kind of kick it to somebody for their review. Not saying it wouldn't be fantastic to have that ability, but it comes with a cost associated with it. So right now, I don't know how many times I've, over the last year, been quoted in a paper, but I don't think it's been a lot. But it has been a few, so I generally try to capture council's viewpoint from that. Try not to say anything too,
You're putting out the viewpoint of council, not your own.
oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and try not to be adversarial, but collaborative and communicative as far as what we're trying to achieve, how we're doing it, but always being respectful in doing so. But do we have a firm linked with the city that I can kick these to, and then they can regurgitate them and vet it and kick it back to me within a 24-hour period? We don't have anybody lined up at the moment. I will tell you that sometimes with organizations we're associated with, we have had a little bit more time, a little longer runway. If we're getting to do a press release or something along those lines, those types of situations, we have had the opportunity to run it through a couple different parties, whether it be legal or in some cases through a media company that can also make adjustments to it, give their input and guidance associated with it. Those, like I said, a little bit longer runway. Those are press releases that we'll do, not the one-offs where the advocate will call and say, hey, I need a comment or a quote by tomorrow. And Tiffany and the mayor, you can probably weigh in on this more than I. I think you guys have both been quoted more than myself, which is totally fine. But the process usually, they call you pretty quickly and they say, I need a quote or to meet with you by the end of the day.
They don't want you to have time to think about it.
They don't. And I will tell you,
9 a.m. for a new meeting.
I have made it a practice that I will always put my quote in a written form, so that it can't be construed and manipulated and interpreted differently, so that I have a piece and point of reference that I can turn to if someone calls and says, well, you said this, and I said, here's the email, this is what I said. I can't help if they took segments of a sentence and then paraphrased it in different ways to make it say something else.
I think it's really good.
Yep, so it's always in written form, I can
So
tell you.
does council want to review everything that he puts out, or does we good with what he's doing?
I do
as of-
not.
I do not.
I don't want to review everything, but I think on some of the press releases, it might not be a bad thing, or at least, because I understand how the interviews go, like, you're not gonna get enough notice to get feedback from us. At least if you're putting something out in writing, maybe shoot it to us in an email and just say, heads up, there'll be an article out. Because a lot of times, I mean, not everybody reads the news or has access to everything or is watching all the time, so at least if we know what press releases are coming out or interviews went out, we can take a look at it, because it may be weeks before it gets back to us, but some members of council see it that day, just because they're reading the newspaper that day.
I agree, the notification. I wish we had somebody to vet it through, because some of these things that he's responding to, it is not always good news, right? As we know, but we don't,
I think typically if there's anything like with legality issue, like you do vet it through Yaz at least,
sure.
for the most
I
part.
think,
but-
I think you navigate the sticky ones fine.
Okay. And last thing is, we have farmer's market tomorrow. This is the last farmer's market. There'll be a craft market in October 1st, but this is the last farmer's market. There'll be apples. Lynn's, I believe, is coming with apples, and I think there'll be pumpkins tomorrow. So anybody's looking for apples, come tomorrow for apples. So.
I do have one thing,
Yes, ma'am.
forgot. And Teresa, I know we already talked about this, I forgot and I don't have my notes. Who's on the CODA board? Is it me, Ryan, and Wes, or is it, I can't remember, we talked about it.
I think
Is it-
You,
I'll verify.
Wes, and then I believe Ryan as the.
Ryan is the,
Planning and zoning piece of that, if I'm not mistaken. And thank you, Tiffany, for bringing that up, because that is something that likely at the next council meeting,
That's what I was
or-
gonna ask, I didn't, with,
or before that, staff's going to reach out to you guys to set up a preliminary meeting. We do have an application that we're working through right now. We need to get that meeting scheduled here probably in short order. So it's like you
and will
have some ESP.
Jamie, will you be a
going on.
part of that too? Is that, are you the,
No, don't quote me on this, I did the CODA boards 100%.
Just
The actual
us,
board
okay.
was 100%. Now, the
Yeah.
applicant is the end user. So technically, we're more than happy to be there, or perhaps donate Aaron's time just to answer questions on how the CODA board would work, because the CODA board, I think, now that the board's been established, I believe the board needs to solidify its bylaws. I believe there's a draft of those, and then once those bylaws get approved, then the board can then review the application.
okay,
The applicant, as far as I know, this is, I kind of gave a telephone effort to the grapevine, that they're preparing their building plans. Prior to them submitting them, they need to get feedback from the CODA board to, receive the CODA board's feedback, then they can submit their building plans.
okay,
So I think that's a sequence of events.
okay, thank you.
yes,
Anybody
it
else?
is. It's Ryan as the Planning and Zoning Commission, council representative, Tiffany, council member, and Wes, council member.
Anybody else with other business? Okay, I make a motion that we move to executive session, to consider the employment of a public employee, to include all of council, Sean at some point. No other business to follow.
Second.
Mayor Barnard,
Yes.
Wes Coble,
Yes.
Jeff Barr,
Yes.
Bob Orsini,
Yes.
Dave Seeland,
Yes.
Ryan Green.
Yes.
Tiffany Hollis.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming out.